What's up, you guys? I'm Jaquan,
I'm Jasmine.
and welcome to the Film Spill.
So today, guys, we're going to be reviewing seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4 of Manifest. This is a drama series, and here is the summary. When Montego Air Flight 828 landed safely after a turbulent but routine flight, the crew and passengers were relieved. But in the span of those few hours, the world had aged 5 years. Now faced with the impossible, they're all given a second chance. But as their new realities become clear, a deeper mystery unfolds, and some of the returned passengers soon realize they may be meant for something greater than they had ever thought possible.
I honestly think this is one of those series that is going to make you think a lot, right? It's one of those series that the plot is kind of confusing. There's so much that's happening in this show, and you basically just trying to get them to, kind of get straight to the point. And then on top of that, this show, when it aired, of course, around the time frame, the pandemic and stuff had happened, so it was on a hiatus for a while. But it came out and it finished strong. All right, so the rating I give this show is going to be a 3.5. I was going back and forth between that and a 4, but I think I'm more comfortable with 3.5. Let's get into my pros and my cons. So the very first pro was the storyline. Like I stated, it was real crazy. It's imagine getting on a plane in 1 year and coming back in another year, right? Just crazy how they put that actually together, and I thought it was dope. Sanvi's character was so useful throughout each season. I feel like without Sanvi, a lot of this stuff is not possible in Manifest. Ben also was another important character. I feel like him and Michaela, they both did so much for 828, but Ben was like, die hard. Like, he was the person putting together, like, the board and, talking about the different passengers, the crazy, all the files and stuff that he had on those passengers. When Vance faked his death, that was real clever. We all thought he had really died, but that was crazy when he came back. Zeke character, so Zeke and Michaela's relationship was real special. Cal's power was real different. I thought he was another one that, it's like Ben, they had some amazing powers, but they did get in a lot of trouble. It was great when Sanvi killed the Major. The Major was somebody who just did not care about human life, and she only cared about, results and trying to weaponize things. When Zeke saved Cal and he died and he came back to life, that was a crazy scene too. Zeke powers were dope as well, but towards the end, of course, we know he started utilizing them for bad, with his addiction. But then he ended up, saving Cal's life. When Jace dies, he was one of those people who came back and he was just crazy. So when he died, I was like, thank you. When they found a piece of Noah's Ark, that was interesting because, like, once this story started, getting further and further, you realize it was kind of like a divine thing, and, it had connections to the Bible, connections to tarot readings, and connection to, like I said, God and Noah's Ark. When Cal came back alive and he was older, that was crazy. That, shocked both of us. Ben never stopped looking for his daughter. I thought that was important because everybody else had gave up on Eden. He was like, nah, I got to find my daughter. And he kept going even though people thought he was crazy. I mean, he ended up going crazy, but I understand why. His wife was killed and his daughter was kidnapped. The powers behind the Sapphire was crazy too. When Cal got the Sapphire as well as Angelina, it was crazy how they both were utilizing them. Finding out Jarrell was pregnant was crazy too. When Egan finally did the right thing, he was one of those characters that just was so irritating. Very selfish, but towards the end, he ended up doing the right thing. Angelina and her followers burning up on the plane. That was crazy because they talked so much about this lifeboat and how they all had to stick together. And it was like, too late, y'all did all the other stuff and they all had. And it's kind of messed up because, they were just trying to find someone to follow and stuff, even though they were doing some crazy things. But I don't think they killed anyone like she was. So when they burned up, that was just crazy. The ending with all them getting back on the plane and going back into the glow to only go back into 2013. I said that was going to happen. We both talked about that. So seeing that was crazy. When Egan called his dad up, his dad hung up on him. We laughed at that. And it was great seeing Michaela back with Zeke. And how she also told Jared, like, you're going to find the person that you love the whole time was Drea. So I like how they kind of like connected too. Cons. I did not like Danny and Allah's relationship. The person who was like the dad, her stepdad or whatever, just didn't care too much about that relationship. Jared and Michaela's relationship was messy from season 1 to season 4. I think that was probably the worst relationship. They kept getting back together, on and off, on and off, on and off. And I get it. It happens in real life, but their relationship was just too much. And then Jared had too many people he was with. Like, gosh. When Bill takes Fiona and forces her on the plane, that was kind of messed up. I didn't like the Major at all. When Griffin coughs up water and drowned, that was scary to see. When Jared and Zeke fights over the gun and it goes off shooting Michaela, like, dang, did she just get back? Now she getting shot. That was crazy. When Isaiah poisons all the 828ers in the nightclub, setting people on fire, killing people. when Zeke's body started showing signs of the frostbite and his skin was covered in ice, that was crazy. He was like hitting his skin. And it was like frozen pieces of it falling off his body. Taking care of Beverly just seems so hard. It goes back into things that I used to say growing up, like, would I take care of a loved one that was like older and stuff? And yes, you would want to, but just seeing if dealing with stuff like that is very, very difficult because you've seen how she had dementia, she was going through so much, and she would freak out and scream. It was just a lot. I feel like it just, a lot of stress and stuff. So, Jace killing Tariq, that was crazy. Even though we was like, Tariq, he didn't even have to go out there. He wanted to like save his family. He ended up getting stabbed. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? But that was crazy. He died. Ben telling Grace, don't kill Jace. You seen how I feel about it. I'm like, shoot, this dude just killed your brother. Like, forget that. I get what he was trying to say. Like, he's about to die anyway. But nah, he could have got smoked. Jace Spirit taking Pete and Corey with him. That was crazy. Olive becoming a thought. You know how I felt about that. You know how I felt about that. But personal thing. Egan, like I stated, he was an op. He did so much. And he ended up redeeming himself towards the end. But I'm like, you could have went up and smoked too, because he did. He caused so much mayhem. Literally towards the end, he was one good thing they saved him. I'm like, bro, he should have. He was just so much. He messed so much stuff up. Cal being this naive kid, giving Angelina the key to the house, which ultimately allowing to Eden being kidnapped, and Grace dying, which was just so sad. Grace was one of those characters that was there from day one. They killed her off. I was like, yo, that's crazy. Dr. Gupta, she was an op. Zimmer, she was an op. They only just cared about, controlling things and trying to use the power for themselves. And the government, Angelina and her whole family was psycho. Every single one of them. Whenever she started getting the sci-fi in her hand looked real bad. Ben neglecting his other two kids. Like I stated, it was good for him looking for Eden, but he just ended up just saying, forget Cal, especially Cal. He's not caring too much about him and Olive. When Violet, the girl Cal date, dies, that was sad too, because he just started going out. I think this is around the time frame he found out that his cancer had came back. And, he wanted to go out and stuff. And she died. I was like, damn, this dude can't get no happiness. I didn't like how nosy the government were with the Stones and the passengers for them not to want to pursue and find out who Gabriel was. I just felt like they were just so quick to trying to figure out everything that was going on in the whole Stone family. They just believed, oh, that's our cousin. All right, cool. We just ran with it. And I'm like, I just thought that could have been explained a little bit better. The passengers who helped hide Angelina, even though they knew she was a killer and a kidnapper, like, some of those people knew this girl. They knew, like, she was a killer. Even if they thought that this is not your child, which I don't think none of them truly believed that was her kid because she was young and they were like, you didn't have a kid on the plane. But just the killing part, they still was helping her. I thought that was crazy. When Daly came back and brought back the plague, that was crazy. When Zeke dies, that was just so sad because, like I said, he ended up saving Cal. When Michaela was at the safe house with her dad and Jared, and she decided to go out for a run, almost getting killed. When the government, crazy.
Don't listen.
When the government trapped the 828 passengers in the facility, and when Cal kept trying to take on all the callings and not rest, like, they were just going through a lot. But overall, like the show, gave it a 3.5.
Okay, guys, I give this series a 3 out of 5. I feel like the first season was the best because we were really trying to figure out, like, what happened with this plane. And I feel like as the seasons went on, they were doing a lot of filler episodes that wasn't really necessary. I feel like Olive is so pretty, and she looks like Kylie Jenner to me. It was crazy how during that 5-year time jump, everyone thought the people on the plane were dead, so they kind of moved on with their life. It was messed up, but it was crazy. And then how all Cal's friends and his twin sister was now 5 years older.
Yeah.
It was crazy at the end of season 2 how Michaela was shot because Zeke and Jared were fighting over a gun. Like, she had nothing to do with it and she got shot. Season 2, it was crazy how Zeke's body looked as he was suffering from frostbite as his death day approached. Like, his skin looked really crazy. Who knew at the beginning of season 3 when we were introduced to Angelina that she would be such a big character?
That's crazy.
She was doing too much. They rescued her from her crazy parents, and then she was all nice and sweet. And then she wanted to take Olive's place, and I'm like, okay, she's crazy. And then it just got worse and worse with her kidnapping Eden and killing Grace. The whole lifeboat thing that Ben came up with was annoying because you can't prevent all hundreds of these people on the plane from doing bad things. That was just impossible, and he was just driving himself crazy. When Cal appeared 5 years older, I kept saying, like, this is not the OG Cal. It was just weird seeing him like that. Season 4, I didn't think they were actually going to kill Grace off. But they did, and it was sad to see how bad Ben got when she was going with Eden kidnapped. But he was the only one who believed she was still alive while everyone else was telling him to give it up. Angelina was even crazier in this season and had Eden calling her mommy. And when she got that sapphire, she turned up like 10 notches. I was happy when they got Eden back, even though it took her some time to get used to her dad. And the last episode was really good. I'm so glad they ended it that way. All the passengers basically got on the plane, ended up back in the year 2013, and everything was normal again. And I liked how everyone found their person again. Cal was a kid again. Grace was alive. Ben said they was going to start working on baby number 3, which would be Eden. And Michaela found Zeke in that cab outside the airport. And then Jared and Drea met each other. I think it was just so cute because it shows like what's meant to be will be no matter what. So they ended it off really, really good. But I give the series a 3 out of 5.
For sure, for sure. Definitely recommend this series. Just like always, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. You guys have a good one.